I think it's going. Looks like it's going.
Stand over there so I can see you. See if it's capturing you.
Yeah, the light's on, so it should be.
You're good.
Ready to go? All right. Timer here. I put this in here because it makes a clicking noise, so we don't hear it in here. All right, everybody. Well, welcome to great training class. We're very excited. My name is David Aguilar, and I'm here to do a little refresher on sharpening the saw, habit 7. I know we've actually all been through all the habits with Cubby, so this is really like a refresher type class. You have a training packet here. In the back is some inserts, and we'll capture the first insert a little bit later. And then the second insert is more for an evaluation, which I hope you'll be able to provide feedback at the end of our session. So we'll go ahead and get started. I represent DA Consulting Incorporated, so any needs that you have professionally, even personally in terms of individual coaching, feel free to reach out. Definitely here to help you be successful. So some of our satisfied clients include companies you see here. So we'll kind of go through that commercial, and we're done with that, and we'll get started with the course. Any questions before we begin? All right, great. Let's get started. Course objectives. At the conclusion of this lesson, you will be able to, in regards to given the Franklin Covey's 7 Habits program, list the 4 dimensions of renewal when referring to Habit 7, sharpening the saw. Identify your level of effectiveness in sharpening the saw using the 7 Habits profile, and I'll give a little bit more information on that a little later. And then identify your favorite sharpening the saw activity and its dimension of renewal. So exciting stuff, exciting stuff. So to get started, I'm going to play a quick video, and then we'll talk a little bit about it afterwards.
See, I'm sawing firewood. Must be pretty tired. I am. How long have you been sawing? 2-3 hours. You must really be beat. Yeah, I am. Saw must be pretty dull by now. Why don't you stop and sharpen the saw? Because I'm too busy sawing.
Habit 7 is the principle of renewal.
So you may have seen that video before, but that's kind of the story behind Sharpen the Saw. How can you relate that to the business world, or maybe to your own lives or careers? Any thoughts? Pradeep, go right ahead.
So I think we just sometimes get tied up in what's going on and all the workload that we have. We forget to realize that if we're not 100%, then we're not able to give our 100%.
So very good. So we're talking about sharpening the saw, and a lot of times we're just so involved in what's going on day to day, huh? We forget to think about ourselves.
Right.
So maybe I know I've been in a position in my previous career where I'm the guy who just keeps trying to cut the saw, cut the wood with cut the branches with that saw, but never realizing that I'm not, making that saw better. So very good, very good. Can anybody relate to that story at all, either personally or maybe professionally?
Absolutely.
All right, Doug, want to share a little?
Yeah, there's been plenty of times where, similar to what Pradeep was describing, you just get so caught up in the things that, as you see them need to get done, you forget to take a step back and really analyze, okay, what's the best way to do this? You're in such a hurry to get it done, you don't take the time to say, well, can I get this done better? Which sometimes you can figure out in just a few minutes, and save yourself time in the long run.
So great point. So we're talking about making ourselves better, self-improving, trying to improve ourselves. If we stay in that same pattern, do we really get better? So those are good points. Thanks, Doug. Sharpen the saw means preserving and enhancing the greatest asset you have, which is you. It's really the end point of Covey's 7 habits. It's the 7th habit in the 7 habits series. It's also considered the habit of renewal, rejuvenation, regenerate, getting that energy back, getting back that pump, getting that motion back. And the focus is really ultimately on you as an individual. So before we go forward on sharpening the saw, let's do a little quiz. Can anyone name the first 6 habits of Covey's program? Doesn't have to be in any order, just any ones.
Creating win-win.
So that would be is that part of synergy maybe? Or synergize?
Yeah.
Creating win-win alternatives. Okay, very good, very good.
Putting first thing first.
Putting first things first, that's another one. Awesome, very good.
Be proactive.
Be proactive, all right.
I think
Doug's
that's
got it.
one.
Doug's got it, all right. So those are a couple of them. I'll go ahead and list, I'm sure this is a review for everybody, but we got be proactive, begin with the end in mind,
That's the one.
put first things first, think win-win, you're right, think win-win. Seek first to understand, then be understood, synergize, and today we're going to focus on sharpening the saw. So very good, very good. Real quick, you've probably seen this, you probably know it by heart, but I'll go ahead and review it with you. This is the maturity continuum that Covey provides during the training sessions. 1, 2, and 3 habits focus on ourselves, trying to improve ourselves. We go to the private victory, which are daily, it can be daily, monthly, or weekly victories where we do things to improve ourselves, where we actually get better as an individual. We go from dependence to independence, focusing on 4, 5, and 6. Those habits are helping others. So we first help ourselves, then we help others, and then the public victory, which really is seeing growth in others. We start with ourselves and work our way up. So that's the upward spiral. You can only go from dependence to interdependence, and the private victory always precedes the public victory. So let's keep going. And I know a lot is probably reviewed, but habit 7 is the habit of self-renewal. So again, the focus is on you, looking at ourselves to improve, to make ourselves better. And we focus what's on our own circle of influence. It's very easy to focus on what's going wrong, what may not be working well, but this gives us the opportunity to focus on our own circle of influence. And habit 7 is often a quadrant 2 activity. And what we mean by that is a lot of time it's important, but it's not urgent. So we don't put a lot of emphasis in exercise or vacationing and doing those things because sometimes we don't see that as urgent. Of course, when it becomes a quadrant 1 activity, it may be now we're sick or now we're burned out, and now it becomes an issue because it's really impacting our health, our finance, etc. So good thing to do is to prioritize your daily goals. Use your resources, like from Covey, like big rocks, knowing what your goals are for the week, and a weekly compass to help time management, of course. So those are some things you could do. The 4 dimensions of renewal are physical, spiritual, mental and social, and, emotional, social, and mental. So those are the 4 dimensions of renewal. Again, physical. Who can tell me an example of a physical area, which is caring for our bodies, focusing on endurance? Who can give me an example of that?
Just getting enough sleep.
Sure. Sleeping is always a good one.
Also, keeping your body in check, so like your yearly checkups with the doctors and just knowing your health and providing that physical activity or having some kind of regimen that you have in place that you follow, so that in the long run you're more successful at that task.
Okay, very good, Pradeep. So talking about going to the doctor, getting checked up, knowing yourself, definitely an important activity. Others, bike riding, jogging, swimming, could be good. Spiritual is really our core, our center, our commitment to ourselves. A lot of times it's a very private area. That could be a very private area. Some examples could be worship, prayer, meditation, whatever spiritual is to us. That's often a private area. And looking at the mental, it's keeping our mind sharp, continuous improvement. Anybody have any thoughts on some good mental areas that you could do?
Just, keeping up to date with things either that are pertinent to your job or your interests, or just that pique your interest.
Okay,
Just in general, I think current events help.
great.
Just knowing what you're surrounded by and what impacts not only you but your community, maybe your town, your country, whatever it might be.
So whatever is kind of important to you on current events.
Sure.
Okay, good. You're right. It could be reading, crossword puzzle, gardening, whatever is important to you as an individual. And then social is more interaction, developing those relationships. Examples there are having friends with lunch, having lunch with friends, book club, dating your other significant other, some good examples. So, and those encompass the 4 dimensions of renewal. So we'll do a little quick activity, pairing up with your fellow supervisor, and discuss with one another your favorite sharpening the saw activity. So maybe just take a couple minutes and each one can kind of share. If you're not sure of the different activities you might do, there's also an insert that gives you a list of them. So take a few minutes and we'll come back in a couple minutes, shall we? All right. All right. So you guys are deep in conversation, so yeah. See there, it has all the 4 dimensions, et cetera, et cetera. All right, you guys need more time, or you feel? Okay. You guys ready? Yeah. We'll continue. Okay. All right. Well, we'll continue. Would anybody like to share their activities?
I think Doug wanted to share.
Doug, you want to go ahead and give it a shot?
Well, I enjoy working out.
Working out. Right on. All right. Here's for M&Ms for sharing. All right. M&Ms. Anything else aside from working out, or?
I think that's probably number 1. I enjoy reading. I'm very interested in certain aspects of health, so I try to keep up to date on what's going on within certain aspects of diet and nutrition and health.
Okay. Nutrition. Okay, cool.
During our conversation, Doug also mentioned he likes to get massages.
Okay.
And
These are great.
does some bubble baths at times. He enjoys bubble baths.
Bubble baths?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
It's relaxing for him
Awesome.
after a heavy workout.
Awesome. This is a great list.
Yeah.
Pradeep, you have any things you want to add?
For me, I can relate to the first 2 that Doug has put out there. That's kind of the ones I talked about.
All right. Here's
Doug,
a treat
thank
for you.
you.
Treat for you. All right. Great. So, who can remember the 4 dimensions? We talked about the 4 dimensions also. Anybody remember those ones? It might be in your workbook. It might be right there.
Physical, mental, spiritual, and social/emotional.
Okay, great. And we can just categorize some of these, but some of them are going to fall into in different areas. Would you say working out is one of these 4? Which one would you think it'd be?
Physical.
Physical, okay. Could probably even be in other ones, right? Maybe mental, but maybe more physical. How about reading?
Generally, that'd be mental.
Mental, okay.
Again, it could be others as well, but that'd be the most likely one.
Mental, okay. Massage?
I say that's more spiritual, maybe.
Spiritual.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Bubble baths?
Not sure where that one falls for Doug, but I think it's probably more spiritual.
Spiritual, okay. As you can see, there's a plethora of different options, and they can actually fall into any of these categories, but mostly we have physical, mental, and spiritual. These ones may not be social or emotional, unless you're working out with maybe others or reading in a group or something like that. But okay, very good. Looks like you guys got some of the concepts down. Excellent, excellent. What I have on this page is a quick assessment for Habit 7. So if you kind of want to know how you're doing, take a couple minutes and answer these questions, and you can total your score at the end. And I'll give you it'll give you a gauge as to how you're doing in Habit 7. There's no right or wrong. This is just a self-assessment. It actually comes from Habits, Covey's 7 Habits, and these are just a couple questions for Habit 7. How'd you guys do? Anyone want to share?
I landed in the area of 12.
Okay. All right, great. Great. How about you, Doug?
The same.
12?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, could do better.
Okay, well, it's very interesting. So this is just a kind of a bird's eye view. Obviously, if you had 18 points, you're definitely aligned with Covey principles. 15 to 18 is continually practicing the 7 habits. 9 to 14, just trying to remember some of the Covey basics that we learned during our training. There's a lot of great resources in Covey, and it's always good to have the book available, maybe cracking it open. Maybe if you're under 9, it might be time for vacation, a little bit of relaxing might be good for you. If you're 0 to 5, we definitely have Covey 7 habit workshops available, and I'll speak more about that after class if you're interested. So, but very good. It's a very good assessment that you can take, and you can actually use it for the future, which I would highly recommend. And for those of you who may want to do more in terms of sharpening saw, here's a demonstration of a couple different activities. Very quick. It's at a park. And it's amazing what you can get done with one trip to the park. So I'll go ahead and play it for you. So we enter to a
Brea, Maine, are going to demonstrate sharpening the saw. It's a great day to just kind of take the view in and take a look and see what's happening in the park today. Not too much until we can. It's a nice day and a nice day to be away. One of the great things about going to the park is how you can do a lot in just a little bit of time. So let's go ahead and begin our demonstration, shall we? So right now Ray is currently lying down and he's taking a little bit of look and reading to a part of the mental and spiritual dimension. Great day to just sit, relax, and do that. Now he is resting at the moment. Yes, great time of relaxing and just taking it easy. Nice day to just kick back and take a snooze while at the park too. In this next area, Ray is deep in thought. He's reflecting or thinking, let's say. This is part of the social dimension. Going to the park is ideal to do that. Just kind of sitting back and kind of relaxing. And finally, in our last vignette here, Ray is stretching. So when you go to the park, you can also do a little bit of stretching, which is part of the movement dimension. So the park, with all these different activities, is an ideal place to sharpen the saw.
So any thoughts on that video? Basically, it's just trying to portray, you can go anywhere And, if you put your mind to it, make it a priority, make it a big rock, you could definitely, go to the park and relax and, get a couple things done, get some of those private victories done. We were talking about earlier about being, at one time I was, stressed and kind of overwhelmed, but by going, to the park and just kind of relaxing, I found that it helped me improve as time goes on. So I felt more relaxed, and that's part of your daily, that's part of the public victory, taking some time off for yourself, performing one of the different activities in the different dimensions. So, very good. Anybody remember the 4 Sharpen the Saw activities in this video?
Mm-hmm.
Remember what those ones were?
Physical,
The 4 dimensions? Yes.
mental, spiritual, and social.
Social. All right. Great job. Great job. Excellent. So, in conclusion, what did we learn? Sharpen the Saw is habit 7. It's a habit of renewal. The 4 dimensions of renewal are physical, spiritual, mental, and social. We also learned how to self-assess our level of effectiveness for habit 7. So what you could do is maybe take that quiz maybe once a month or once a quarter. That would be maybe the action item or the takeaway from today's training session. Go ahead and use it for the future, and it can kind of self-assess, and it'll also give you a gauge as to how you're doing in habit 7. Also, what you could do, there's a list of different ways of sharpening the saw. Some from simple activities to some that are a little bit more complex, but those are different ideas, different things for you to take away as an idea and as a great resource. And as Abraham Lincoln said, if I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. Well, I wish it said saw, but kind of get the same idea. We want to focus on ourselves, make ourselves much better. And that concludes this session. Anybody have any questions on sharpening the saw or habit 7? And there's some additional resources for you if you need it. So, any thoughts, questions, ideas? All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well,
for
thank
your
you.
help.
Thank you. I'll be here till 3 o'clock if you have any additional questions or need any resources. And if you're interested in a workshop on all habits, definitely let me know and I'll come back. All right. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Aguilar.
All right. You're welcome. I think. Make sure I do this part.